Hey, my name is Brent, and I'm the founder and CEO here at Dream Team. Today, I want to show you KATA. It's the first launch in our execution operating system we're building that keeps teams fast and effective at scale. KATA is your mission control, your central progress hub for all of the stuff happening in your company. It works by connecting all of the work across all of the tools to projects and to goals so that everyone knows what's important and can stay focused and move faster and make better decisions, all with fewer meetings. KATA is now available in our early access program, and we'd really love your feedback on it. We've been working on it for the last 18 months or so, and while there's some rough edges, we think it's gotten pretty awesome, and we're ready to show it to the world. So I mentioned the last 18 months, but in reality, KATA's been in the works for the last decade. It started as an internal tool inside of some pretty iconic companies like Salesforce and Shopify. Leaders at those companies realized that as they scaled, they needed a way to stay fast and effective. So they built tools like Vault at Shopify or Gus at Salesforce to help them get shit done at scale. You may have seen this demo from Jean-Michel, the then CTO of Shopify back in 2020 on how it made them at least 10 times better over the last 5 years. That video got over 11,000 views, not bad for an internal work tool, and JML got endless requests to release it because the problems of staying fast aren't unique. Every company faces them as they evolve and grow. So that's exactly what we're doing. We teamed up with JML and leaders from Salesforce and companies like Snap and Google and Grafana to build KATA for you so that you don't have to. So what are we really trying to solve with KATA? Well, every company we talk to says it's getting slower and slower to build. And it's because we've gone through this SaaSplosion over the last 2 decades, as one CTO lovingly put it to me, and it's really fragmenting our team's focus and keeping them in silos in their own areas. Jira, GitHub, Figma, Slack, Google Docs, and all of the equivalents. And then companies feel this slowness and they respond with more sync-ups and status meetings and written status reports to the CEO with screenshots of code you wrote that week. Sound familiar? And things just grind to a halt. So this is really the fundamental challenge. How do we get everyone in your organization running in the same direction as fast as possible? How often have you been in a staff meeting where you hear topics like, the team seem to be working really hard, but I'm not seeing the results I'd expect in our KPIs or in our product. Like, where's the waste in the system? Or the plans we're getting back from the teams are much longer than we need. They don't seem to be aligned with their strategy. Like, where's the problem here? Or teams just complaining they're constantly blocked on things or having to wait for decisions to be made. Or how many projects are green until the very end, then they're red and it's this all hands on deck situation. Or even just that constant accumulation of tribal knowledge slowing you down little bit by little bit and causing all of that rework. But what would it look like if everyone in your company in every department had a single place they could log into every day and see the pulse in what was going on? See the progress and direction and detail they needed to crush it that day and the next day and the day after that. And not just on their own projects, but across the entire company. And what if that same system also helped them accelerate their work by communicating more effectively with each other and keeping them focused on the top priorities and unblocked and make more effective decisions across the teams? What could you get done then? That is exactly what KATA enables. It's not some crazy new methodology or way of working. It's the way we're all trying to work because we know it's the right way. Our current tools are just holding us back. And replacing tools isn't the answer. We've done that 100 times, but quite the opposite. We strongly believe we need to keep teams in flow in their existing tools that are working best for them, but then elevate the signal from the noise. We need that common information bus across the company so that everyone can stay aligned and in sync, but asynchronously. That is where whoa, we're crushing it, holy shit velocity comes from. Everybody going fast, but in the same direction. All right, so how do we do it? First, let's talk direction. As leaders, we develop strategy, the plan for how we're going to win. And then we work with our teams to develop goals to align on that strategy, and we're really trying to build this shared direction with focus. The problem, though, is that all of that almost always lives in some doc or spreadsheet that no one can find or access, or some tool that nobody opens. But it's such critical information. It's the why behind everything your organization is doing. It's how your teams make better decisions while they're doing it. So in KATA, you'll find goals right alongside the actual work, easy to access for everyone from the intern to the CEO at your company. In fact, that's one of our underlying principles is we all have sensitive projects, but by and large, we need a place for everyone to see across the company what's going on, who's working on what, and how it's going. And not just what the goals are, but what's the actual work going on, the action plan. It doesn't matter if it's OKRs or missions or commitments or V2 moms. We're not about some specific methodology or named thing. We're deeper than that. We work with all of them. At the end of the day, you need an easy way to break down your strategy into the actual work that's happening and see the results and the progress on it, and then see the dependencies across it. What we hear a lot from customers is dependency management is hard, especially in fast-moving organizations. It just becomes a nightmare. But by putting all of this in one place, you can see the bottlenecks in the plan and fix it before it becomes a problem. Plans are useless and planning is priceless. What if they were both priceless? Okay, so Kata gives your team a robust set of directions, but how do we help them go fast? Well, Kata projects are really the key to that. They're like nothing you've ever seen before. They streamline all of the little friction points that happen on projects that are the silent slowdowns of progress. They're like the killer app for your project owners, and they work by bringing together all of the data siloed away in Jira, Slack, Figma, GitHub, Google Docs, and all of the other tools into the single usable place. So let me show you how they work. If you think like us, decisions and demos are two of the most important signals for progress that happen in companies, and streamlining decision making is probably the single most important thing you can do to go faster. And then learning from those decisions, did we take path A, B, or C, and Y, becomes this crazy feedback tool to then get better at it over time. So in Kata, we're going to show you those front and center alongside the progress you're making and make it super simple to record those from your existing tools and then blast it out to the project team and curate into status updates. And status updates in Kata are going to be the best you've ever seen because of our rich data set. And not because we love status updates, but we love effective communication. So we made those super simple to curate, full of rich and useful information. It's that information bus across your company. At Dream Team, we really push making decisions quickly, and Kata's a game changer for us here. How many times in engineering do you find implementation issues sort of after the design review? Our team will make those decisions, post them to Kata, usually from the GitHub PR where they're making them, and then keep moving. We don't block on them. Our tech leads can then catch up on those decisions right from Kata, and so we have this sort of async review model, which means we never have to stop and wait for a meeting, but we don't waste effort building the wrong thing either. We have the right checks. And then we keep a full log of these so you can refer back to them later and get to the exact place the decision was made. You have the full context, whether it was a GitHub PR or a Slack thread. Like, how many decisions get lost there every day? And that's really another key benefit to the central hub for progress across your company is that it doesn't just help you while you're executing, but when you need to go back and look at what happened too. It's a learning tool. For new team members ramping up or folks working on an old project or changing teams, just easy to go back and find all of the designs and docs and even PRs that happened. But more than that, the decisions that were made along the way, the changes to the plan. It's really good at getting better over time. How often in Europe do you see stuff happening and you need to make some tactical decisions where maybe the goals aren't changing so much, but you need to pause some projects and swarm on others? You try to communicate this to the team, but it's really hard to see if that's actually happening. There's a sort of long feedback lag. It's the real world invisible situations where productivity seems to get lost. It just kind of goes into the ether. But Kata makes this really easy to see. Here's an example of a critical project for us that was coming in late. And in this one screen, I'm getting all of this rich diagnostic information. I can see that by the time we were done designing it, and I'll talk about project phases in a moment, we weren't ready to staff it. And so we lost time here. And this is a scheduling problem I can now literally see and go fix. Then we started executing, but we went off track pretty early. This was one of those projects for us where scope creep was so natural, we were likely overbuilding. Our appetite was bigger than our stomach. But we were able to catch it early and course correct. And in this case, we had a meeting, and not an hour-long one, a 15-minute one, because everyone showed up with full context thanks to Kata, and then we simultaneously cut some scope and decided to swarm on it. I can then see the immediate results of that taking shape. More people swarming in, status went back on track right away, changes in Figma resulting in the scope cutting, and then more milestones being hit in rapid succession right after that. And Kata kept this all automatically up to date. Everyone could see what was going on in real time, no manual updates necessary. So I mentioned milestones. That's another killer feature people really like in Kata. Every large project has them. They're progress markers, interim goals to plan around. We all know how hard it is to estimate large projects, but we do know the concrete next steps that we're working towards, and milestones are how we show those to you in Kata. But more than show them, it's how we keep your teams focused and eliminate that toil that goes on by narrowing in on the next concrete deliverables, not the many months of work ahead. And because milestones are so important, we made them smart. You can connect them to any underlying work artifact so you can easily find it or signal progress on it. Figma designs, Google Docs, they don't have any done state attached with them. But now you have a way to signal the design is ready for review or the tech talk's ready to talk about. And you can attach epics and stories from any of the plethora of task tools that Kata integrates as well. The team can keep working, closing their tickets as usual, and then Kata will automatically sync that progress back in so that you can see exactly what's going on. No manual updates necessary. It's kind of like this decoder ring for progress across all of your tools, the single place to look. And Kata makes this all work with a very lightweight social protocol. Your team wants the projects to succeed, but nobody wants to fill out TPS reports or time cards every week. We can't work in a vacuum, but we need to maximize that deep work time, that time and flow. So Kata is like project management without the management. It makes it dead simple for teams to work in their favorite tools, and then we all just agree to post the key decisions and demos and check-ins from those tools, and all enjoy the speed up of async communication. And Kata keeps track of it all automatically. It's just simply a better way of working. If I'm in Slack, I can post a decision directly from where it happened and get back to it, or pull up the latest status update on a project I care about. I can post a demo directly from my GitHub PR because KATA has all of the smarts built in to figure out how work is related. It's the work graph. This PR references this ticket, which is part of this epic, which was previously associated to a project. KATA just does it for me and the demo shows up on the project. And this works from Google Docs or Figma too. If we're making key decisions or direction changes, I can post it right from there and get back to it. How much stuff gets lost inside of Google Docs? Or have you ever tried to find anything in Figma? Like, you just can't. So we've seen how KATA brings projects to life with this rich self-updating view of progress and provides direction across the company by mapping your top-level goals all the way down to the work that supports them and the dependencies across them. But what about when you want to look at things by cross-cutting concerns like team or platform, or just show me what needs my attention right now? Well, we made that easy too. With intelligent filtering on our rich dynamic data, and flexible tagging, you can create these custom filters to get you to just what you need. Views like our phases are really good at showing you how work is moving through your organization. These are the phases we use, but you can configure them to whatever works for your company. The point being, projects don't just start and end, they have a life cycle. And by seeing where projects are at in that life cycle, you can understand work in progress and work queued up. This has been a major speed up for us at Dream Team, is really limiting that work in progress and stop pretending it's all going to happen at once, and instead ruthlessly focusing on what we need to do right now, going slow to go faster. So we have a few spots left in our early access program. If you like what you see, we'd love to work with you on making KATA awesome for your company. Hopefully you've seen the power of connecting all of the dots of work, and just imagine the insights we can generate with all of this. We're working on things like focus scores and an early warning system to detect issues ahead of time, and better escalation management to then address those issues. Oh, and one more thing. I want to tell you why we chose the name KATA. It comes from the Japanese word for form, and it's a common term in martial arts meaning master the basics to achieve mastery in the overall practice. And that's really what we're doing for you. KATA is all about your projects and your people, the basic form of your organization, and getting them together in perfect harmony. We have some pretty exciting stuff coming up on the people side too, so watch this space. Thank you.